What up? So look, I wanted to share something with y'all, and I was sharing this with my daughter earlier. Hold on, let me make sure my shit is straight. It ain't straight, but whatever, I'm gonna share it with y'all anyway. So look, I was talking to my daughter earlier, right? And she a teenager, so I was explaining to her just some stuff about relationships and shit, right? Suave, I'm blessed. I was explaining to her some shit about relationships. And, you know, when I was talking to her, I was just really letting her know, and I always let her know this, like, most adults don't understand the shit that I'm explaining to you. So, you know, when I break it down, just understand, you know, how valuable it is. So, likewise, bro. So I was explaining to her, you know, just the concept of managing your thoughts, understanding what's logic, what's common sense, what's reality versus what you feel, right? Because it be shit that as human beings, because we all human beings, it be stuff that you feel, but then it be shit that's actually going on outside of your feelings, right? So we're talking about relationships, and I explained to her how a lot of adults, male or female, don't understand that until you've came up with an agreement with another person or multiple people, you cannot try to hold people accountable for the shit you told yourself in your thoughts, right? And like at first she wasn't getting it, so I had to break it down like 2 or 3 times because the shit basic, but when you factor in human emotion, it becomes a struggle to really understand because you want to live in what you feel, right? So I was explaining to her, you know, you see people, meet people, you got somebody you like, they might agree that they like you back, right? And there is this emotional understanding that there's an attraction there, right? But then there is the common sense part where it has to do with rather you genuinely understand that even though we both agree there's some sort of attraction, there ain't no fucking commitment made yet. Y'all get what I'm saying so far? Like, I had to make sure she understood that, okay, you like somebody, they like you. Y'all done flirted with each other. There is an agreement emotionally in the physical that, you know, we are attracted to one another. And what happens is most human beings don't understand from there, your thoughts, your feelings get ran by your thoughts because you start to process in your mind all the things that y'all could be, that y'all gonna be, that you think y'all should be based on what you feel, based on the serotonin that's being, you know, secreted by your hormones in your body and shit. Like a science effect is taking place, you know, if we just gonna explain it in that way, right? And so from there, your thoughts tell yourself that you and this other person is such and such, right? And if you're not able to manage your motherfucking thoughts, you will then begin to hold the other person accountable to stuff that only you know about. Agreements that only you came up with. Shit that you is the only one that's okay with. And maybe the other person will or won't be okay with it, but until it comes out in the physical and in the verbal and becomes a commitment or an agreed upon behavior or standard that we both gonna live up to, it's just some shit you got going on in your thoughts. And it's a lot of grown people, I was explaining to her, they don't understand this. And this is why they meet people, and based on their life experiences, they hold people accountable to that. They try to punish people. They try to confront people. They try to come at people in a way that has to do with the other person supposedly already understanding what the fuck is going on in their mind that only they know about. What's up, Mary? It's a lot of grown people when it comes to relationships. Y'all don't understand this. So I said that to her to say this. As you dating and as you talking to people, as you know, doing your little 1-2 with boys and peers your age, like, make sure you understand there is what we actually talked about and what is out there and it's logic and it's common sense based on what is understood between all parties. And then there is what I feel. So then I went on to explain to her, because we was talking about dating, right, in relationships. So I went on to explain to her, you know, as you date people, they allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to do when y'all dating, right? So she was like, what you mean? You know, because from her perspective on a couple things, she felt like if a person do X or Y, ma, that's weird, right? This is what she's saying, like they moving weird, right? But you can't tell nobody they moving no type of way unless there are some rules or an agreed upon way that we supposed to move. So, you know, I'm explaining to her, when you talking to somebody, you exchanging phone numbers, y'all just trying to get to know each other, y'all dating. There is no expectations on how this person is supposed to act. Like, you deal with them based on, I'm trying to get to know them. I'm trying to learn them. I'm trying to catch a vibe with them. I'm trying to see if I could bond with them. I'm trying to see what their ways are, what their character is, by allowing them to just be them. You don't place no expectation. You set boundaries. And these bitches, you set them before you left home. So they don't have nothing to do with the other person. So, you know, she understanding parts of what I'm saying, but then in some parts she ain't. And a lot of y'all, you probably understanding parts of what I'm saying, and then in some of this shit you ain't, right? So before you ever decide that you're going to talk to, date, interact with, kick it with, fuck on, you know, mesh with, whatever you want to call it, with another individual, you got to have certain boundaries already set to where these parts of me you have to earn. Like, there is a price or a cost for having access to this stuff. And see, the biggest problem is nowadays, a lot of motherfuckers don't have this. And what they do is, as they interact with people and they get involved in shit that they don't like, and they get certain parts of them exposed to where it hurts or it's vulnerable or it's out there, that's when they try to set a boundary, when they already gave a bitch access to those parts of them. And that's ass backwards. That's putting the cart before the horse. The shit don't work like that. So I was explaining to my daughter, you know, as you talk to people, as you date, as you text, as y'all group chat, as y'all hang out, you got to understand, these people allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to. They can talk to who they want. They can go around who they want. They can move how they want. They can say what they want. And what you're doing is deciding if their character, their ways, the things they doing, if it match up with what you want. If it do, you continue to allow them more and more access. If you don't, this is when you pay attention to the red flags and you decide how much access to you that they get. What role in your life you want them to actually play. And from there, you got to then get with them and get in agreement. Meaning it has to be understood between both of us what the fuck we doing. A lot of y'all, similar to how my daughter was thinking, y'all think that whatever you came up with in your mind based on what you felt as you interacted with these people is what's law. And this is why a lot of y'all run around operating in y'all feelings. This is why you can't make logical decisions. You can't bond and interact to the point where you know how to compromise or conflict resolve, because everything is about the unmanaged thoughts in your mind. The stuff you told yourself about what a nigga or a bitch should and shouldn't say, what they should and shouldn't do, who they should be around, who they shouldn't. A lot of y'all tell yourselves based on what you understand who they should interact with or what's appropriate interaction. You don't go off of what you know that they understand. This is why so many of y'all in relationships and you keep finding yourself in a round and round circle, because y'all get into it. They do some shit that you don't fuck with, or some shit you felt like they should know better. And you don't realize, like, everybody don't know what you know. Everybody's way of operating with relationships in life ain't the same as yours, because everybody be raised different. Because everybody raised different, everybody got different paradigms. Because everybody got different paradigms, everybody's behavior is being motivated from different shit. Everybody understanding of life and what their purpose is different. And see, when you notice, you will pay more attention to what we understand versus what I want, or what I'm trying to get you to do, or what I find funny, or what I feel like you should be on, or what I feel like you should understand at your age. The idea is, let me get to know this motherfucker in the most organic way possible. Let me allow them to be them in their natural state. Let me not try to alter, manipulate, game, or any of that. Let me see just what the fuck you gonna show me based on your behavioral patterns. And then from there, based on what I know about me, my boundaries, the shit I can and can't be fucked off with, let me then verbalize and get an understanding with you so that we can have certain agreements that are the rules or the standards set for our interactions. That way, moving forward, I don't disappoint myself. And this brings me to the last point I was explaining to my daughter. Like, half the time, a lot of what people feel, especially adults, it's them upsetting themselves. Nobody's doing anything to them. See, what they doing is they placing expectations on other people based on what they told themselves in their thoughts that was driven by their feelings, their emotions that was sparked from certain triggers and shit that's going on in their life, right? So they go off of that and they place expectations on other people's actions. And really it's them letting themselves down, because when the other person don't got no clue about this shit you told yourself in your mind, they ain't even doing nothing wrong. They just being them. I explain to her, I counsel people all day long that they sit on the phone and they try to explain to me how another person was like purposely out to get them with their behavior. But the whole time I'm letting them talk, all I hear is that you lied to yourself about this other person's character. You telling yourself they should be on something different, but they showing you just what they own. I did a one-on-one with a lady, and I was explaining this to my daughter. I did a one-on-one with a lady, and she expressed how she was talking to a dude, and he explained that, you know, he bought some tickets and planned a trip out of town for his family, right? His kids, some of his, you know, personal biological relatives, right? And for whatever reason, some of his relatives couldn't make it. So it boiled down to his baby mama volunteering herself to go on the trip, right? Basically, like, you know, I can fill one of the spots the kids going. I could actually be a helping hand for the children going on the trip, right? Seems harmless to a lot of people. But to her, she had a problem with that, right? This is her own problem. This is a personal problem at this point. Her standards for herself, the thoughts and the emotions centered around him describing this to her was that, oh, hell no, I ain't on this. It's no nigga that I'm finna be dating, finna be going on family trips, and they baby mama finna be coming. Not, you know, not while you with me. And she even articulated, if this was some shit that had to do with the children's education or some shit that was about something that has to do with y'all parenting, I'm cool with that. But this is just a social outing you plan that she's exerting herself in. I'm not on that. And I'm not able to go. No, ma'am. Right? So this was how she felt. This is a personal problem. A lot of y'all ain't going to understand this because you're not logical. But I'm telling you, this is a personal problem, right? She had the conversation with the dude and he hear her out on her personal problem. It's fine, right? So she expressed what she wanted to express. Later on, dude still went on the trip with the baby mama, right? So at that point, this is the person showing you what they own. This is not some deep malicious plot against you. This is a motherfucker hearing what you said about what you're not okay with, and they made a decision based on what they was okay with. They're allowed to do that. And guess what? You're allowed to decide. Same thing I told her. You're allowed to decide if you still want to move forward with them or not based on them making a decision based on what they feel. See, the thing is, y'all got to understand, feelings is something everybody got. An opinion is something that everybody is allowed to have. What motherfuckers is on is something that's allowed to be personal to them. Y'all problem is y'all don't know when to use the dough. So she ain't use the dough. She went along with some shit that she was not okay with. So the nigga go on the trip. And while he on the trip, you know, he calling, making little, you know, short phone calls, trying to make sure she all right, even though he went through with what he wanted to do that he know that she ain't okay with. And she went along with that, answering the phone, you know, putting her energy out there, and her energy was coming with an attitude because, of course, she wasn't okay with the shit. But this is when we get into personal accountability, right? A bitch moved on some shit in a way that they wanted to. This ain't no deep malicious plot against you. But if you really not okay with some shit, why are you continuing to go along with it? Because truth be told, y'all be having low self-esteem, and really you be afraid to walk away from some shit. You say you deserve this type of treatment and this is what you own, but you're not even willing to stand on that. You just want to take your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings and exert them into the relationship to try to manipulate the person to be different. And that's exactly what she did, right? So she talking to him while he on the trip. He doing the whole just trying to make sure he check in so it don't look a certain kind of way. Who knows what it was? But the idea is you on these phone calls going along with this shit, knowing that deep down you really ain't okay with it, right? So when he come back, now it's World War III. Now a nigga got to meet you where your feelings is at, which this is very immature shit, but people do it because, of course, you don't understand what I'm explaining right now. So they come back from off the trip and now there is all of this smoke. But the idea is, what is the point logically of all this smoke when in all reality you have the ability to walk away anytime somebody move in a way that you feel like is a deal breaker for you? The problem is a lot of this shit don't really be a deal breaker for y'all. It just be some shit that your unmanaged thoughts push you to react on based on being triggered. Your feelings be all over the place. You don't really know what you want to stand on. This is why you don't walk away and you continue to just stay in some shit. And you think if I just keep telling this nigga or this bitch how this made me feel and how they had me fucked up and how I find it weird, that it will make them somehow change their paradigms, which are their inner beliefs. The stuff from their upbringing and their subconscious mind that told them it was okay to move that way. No, ma'am, that is his character. That is what he's on. And it has nothing to do with you. But when you emotional, you will make everything about you. You will make people just living their lives, making decisions based on what they want and what they feel like is cool about yourself. And you will upset yourself in turn. A lot of y'all don't understand this. I'm doing a Zoom on Wednesday night on management of emotions. I teach you motherfuckers how to manage your thoughts, the process of knowing when you're triggered and understanding what I need to do to get a grip on what my inner has going on, where I'm getting my beliefs from that spark emotion in me. Can I sort through, here is what I feel, and then here is what's logically going on. Here is what people are allowed to do. Here is what I'm not okay with based on my feelings and emotions. And then here is what I'm not okay with based on feeling like, you know, my ethics and my morals are being challenged. Y'all don't know how to separate that. So anything that make you feel some type of way, you think it's an actual shot against your soul or your character or your fucking beliefs or your ethics or the things that you stand on, and it's not. It's just the fact that you were never taught how to manage your emotions. And see, the problem is y'all don't understand. A calm mind makes wiser decisions. Managed thoughts can make choices that produce fruit in the long run. All that chaotic, emotional shit, telling yourself that people should live up to the standards that only you got agreements with in your mind, is the easiest way for you to see yourself in a toxic circle. Some of y'all ain't in no toxic relationships. You in a toxic circle with your motherfucking self. This is why y'all sit back and tell y'allself, this why I ain't got no friends now. See, this is why I'm single. This why I don't fuck with a bitch. That's why I don't fuck with these niggas. But really, it's you don't know how to manage yourself. You ever seen a motherfucker that can't manage their finances? What do they, even though they work and make money, what do you always see them doing? Going round and round in a motherfucking toxic cycle of bills, going broke, getting a check, losing the check, getting some money, spending the money, getting some money, don't know where the money went. Had some money, didn't know they had it, don't understand. Like when you don't understand how to manage your finances, the shit will be toxic. And it's the same with your emotions and your thoughts. When you don't understand how to manage these hoes, you will never seize prosperity in the form of healthy social relationships. Healthy, intimate relationships. Hell, some of y'all, you can't even parent from a healthy space. All you know how to do is get upset, tell them kids they getting on your nerves and whoop their ass or threaten to do something to them. You don't know how to articulate and explain what the fuck going on. And a lot of y'all do this with y'all kids when it comes to holding them to an expectation of some shit you didn't even teach them. It's just some shit a bitch did to you when you was younger, so you expect your kids to know better. I see it all the time. Y'all be on social media, out in public, whooping and chastising y'all kids by some shit they supposed to know better than. But how when you didn't teach them? It be some shit y'all kid fucked up on for the first time. You never discuss this shit with them. You never explain anything about the rules or the consequences around this type of behavior, yet you beat the fuck out of them or cuss them out based on them trying you, or they should have known better. Making shit personal to you when really the child trying to sort through their own decision-making skills. And they got them hoes from you. Because kids are born with a clean slate. The way that they operate, the way they move, they taught that shit based on what you exposed them to. This shit be getting too real for some of y'all. But when a bitch try to talk about gentle parenting, articulate, y'all don't want to hear this. Nope. Every one of y'all that feel like you got problem kids or bad, it comes from what you exposed them to or what the fuck they was born with. And guess who they was born from? Y'all don't want to be honest with y'allselves. Don't want to talk about the diet you had when they was growing inside of you. Don't want to speak on the stuff you exposed them to when your fucking genetics was creating them. When this motherfucker was in your stomach and feeling every bit of energy that you felt. Then when the baby come out high strong, fucking all these issues and shit, babies be 2 and 3 with fucking nerve problems, walking around, can't hardly function. That shit comes from you. And until you get that shit under your control, manage it, get an understanding, a grip on what the fuck is going on, what you think gonna keep happening? Shit gonna repeat itself. You can get in my management of emotions Zoom by texting 678-965-0698. If you need to book a one-on-one phone call, 678-965-0698. I also got an event coming up in less than like 30 days where it's a personal experience for young people with Love Dorsey, and it's in person. It does cost. The age category is going to be 16 to 19. And it's really me giving these young people game on shit they parents didn't give them game on. Finances, business, life, personal, intimate, the things that y'all skip talking to them about. Love Dorsey going to give it to them up close and personal. So definitely be on the lookout on any of my pages, Facebook or Instagram, for your chance to book, lock in your spot for your child, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, maybe even you if you fall in that age category. It definitely starts with self-tap. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day.